God, some of it's working. Hi, everyone. I'm trying. I'm seeing if this works. So, hello, welcome back. Hey, Kylie, good to see you again. Oh. We might be into it. The game is actually launching. I have it. So so you're aware that this isn't an audio glitch or anything. I have the audio turned off for you guys while the intro title sequence and loading screens and stuff play, for which I have to apologize. Um, it's all wonderful, but every time I let the title music play, I get copyright struck in like Brazil. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to bother with that. So we're just listening to my acceptable voice. So good evening, hello. It's working as far as I can tell. I hope. And while we're waiting for the game to load, I know it's been kind of a half an hour, so I figured I would start while everything is starting to load. I am really sorry, everybody, for the technical difficulties. My computer decided to just restart itself and auto update Windows at like 8:40, so that was cool. Anyway, it's working now. I think everything's working. Microphone's working. Computer, my controller, the little light is on. It's supposed to be. My coffee is working. It's doing its job very gradually. Oh, right, the alcohol. That should do its job too. After all this, isn't it? It's a job that needs doing. Anyway, we have a retail job now. Fun. I've heard. I haven't really done retail. I've heard nightmarish things, obviously, from everybody. I haven't really done retail. I the closest thing I did to retail was when I was an alligator trainer, and when I would at least occasionally run POS. Ooh, Barnes and Noble. Oh, cool, cool. That is a wonderful Barnes and Noble is a wonderful relic of a bygone era from when you were like, I don't know, born. Man, a warehouse. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, the sound is working here though, so I know it's at least working. And okay, it's registering on my software. So we're good. We are good. As soon as I actually load in and everything, we should be all set to get back into it. Oh my god. Here we go. All right. Yeah, I that is good to hear. That's awesome. But as you guys have been talking about just a bit, updates as well. Monica's doing great. She's very small. She's very small. She's like a pound. She was born like a pound smaller than either of the other two. So she's little. She's very little. Um, Gosh, it struck me last weekend because she was a day early of her expected due date. Whereas Saoirse was born 2 weeks late, exactly 2 weeks to the day late. And I was struck last weekend when Monica was 2 weeks old that this is how old Saoirse was when she was born, which is just wacky. It's just a weird, wacky thing to think about. Anyway, that's something. And that was like what, Saturday? Saturday. I don't know what days things happen. It's it's that I'm in that we're still kind of, well, I am at least still in that like newborn limbo stage where it's just kind of a, because we're on something like Erica probably more than me, so um credit where it's due, but we're on something like her sleep schedule, which is 4 hours up, 4 hours down, 4 hours up, 4 hours down, 4 hours up, 4 hours down. So we're on like an 8 hour day, so to speak. So that's pretty cool. It's there's always like the jokes and stuff about how um babies don't sleep and you don't sleep as a parent when babies firstborn. But I gotta say, much like Saoirse, Monica's been great with the sleeping, and her waking and sleeping periods have gotten longer each already. Okay, we are actually back, and I can turn the sound back on. All right. Yeah, everything's working. Cool. I think. Yeah, looks like it. All right. So anyway, where was I? I know we have some actual little side quests here. We've got to go with. So basically, the plan this time. Last week we spent the entire time doing every side quest we could possibly do in the hinterlands, and oh, for Christ's sake, we still have more. Okay, no, we still have more, but they're the uh, things I can never find, so I'm just not going to. Um, but we're gonna do some of these quests, some of our companion quests, and just explore some areas that we haven't really. Um, oh yeah, you love the dress. That is modded. Well, kind of. It is actually an original game asset. It's from a very specific occasion that you can guess. But oddly, it's not the occasion of the giant masquerade ball that the entire party goes to. No, it's not that. It is it's something in one of the DLCs. That we will actually see its proper use at some point. But by default, where's the map? By default, the sort of casual wear, the stuff you can wear around the castle and whatnot, is really kind of atrocious. It's no good. It's no good. All right, let's go there. Neckline of the gold detail. Okay, so there's a secret here about necklines and Dragon Age. So that'll do. Not just Dragon Age, but BioWare in general. This is a character model design point that you'll find in a lot of games if you actually keep your eyes peeled. There's a lot of RPGs that have detailed character models like this, especially ones made by BioWare. This goes back all the way to Origins, and for some reason, even when they changed game engines, right? This is made on a different game engine than Origins and 2. Even still, they wind up with this, still kind of having this problem, and it's animators being able to connect the head and neck model to the body. And the only appropriate way of doing that or the only vaguely subtle way of doing it that it doesn't look really janky, is to have either high collars on clothes, or if, like that dress, you have a low collar, have a fairly large necklace. Like you can see with Sable's necklace, it's a wide gold barred necklace. And so it's one of those things where they have to do something to make the design look great, while also fitting with what they need to do for a 3D modeling standpoint. And I always appreciate that sort of thing. It's cool to sort of know what the design philosophy is behind all of these things, and what leads to the various design decisions that there are. Because for me, it's much more interesting to see exactly why the decisions are made. Let's do this one, because it's not just what'll look good. It's what'll look good and also work properly within the animation limitations, and what will flow properly on a character model. What will work with our physics engine, like what'll interact with the environment correctly, and things like that. So that's always neat to see that sort of thing, and it's why I like. Gosh, if you're not familiar with it, there's a great YouTube channel, Corridor Crew or Corridor Digital.
Let's look around.
The both of them. It's a VFX company, a bunch of guys who do professional visual effects. And a lot of what they do on their YouTube channel is they do these VFX artists react. And they also bring in animators, and they bring in stuntmen, stunt coordinators, and things like that. And a lot of what they do is looking at the design of things from a VFX standpoint, and what actually drives a lot of the decision making. Like, why is it that things are shot in a certain way, so to make the shot work, but also to make the shot work from a production standpoint. If you haven't seen any of their stuff, it's really cool. It is it has given me so much insight into sort of digital design process of all sorts in all kinds of media. As far as I can think of, they don't really do. I don't know if they've ever done VFX kind of stuff in video games. I know they have for a lot of. They do a lot of movies. They do a fair bit of TV, that sort of thing. We're gonna keep just about the area. Warden Tome, nice. There we go.
The history of the Grey Wardens is fascinating.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we just found out last session, or was it two streams ago, that Blackwall, our Grey Warden, is not actually a Grey Warden. He's replacing one who was killed right as he recruited him. Basically, right as he recruited the guy we call Blackwall, he was recruited by an actual Grey Warden named Blackwall, who was killed, and then this guy took his name and identity and all that. So he's a little bit of a sketchy guy with a terrible history of war crimes. Naturally. Oh my god, there's a lot of stuff here. I forgot. I need my coffee. What is that? Maybe next week we'll do a dragons stream. Fight all the dragons. I think we've unlocked the areas with all the dragons. We just haven't actually gone there yet. Yeah, we might as well go here next. Yeah, this'll work. You don't need to bring Solus, though, I don't think. We should probably switch out Solus for Vivienne, maybe? Anybody else we need for this area? I don't think anyone else is really relevant. Yeah. Maybe we'll do Vivienne, Cassandra, and Blackwall. Could use 2 warriors. Yeah, that'll be fine. Anyway, how are things? How else are things? As we load in. So another thing I wanted to kind of chat about, just sort of everyday topics, things that have struck my mind lately that I feel like mentioning. I mentioned in the chat before we began that, let's see.
Inquisitor, if you have a moment.
Yeah, what do we got?
What is it? Could prove useful, sir.
I mentioned before we began this that I had thoughts on a children's cartoon, some very extensive and detailed thoughts on a children's cartoon, Puppy Dog Pals, which is one of those that Saoirse enjoys a good bit. There's a lot of fun about it. Oh, right, hold on, let me switch out my companions for a moment. There's a lot of fun about it. It's a nice little adventure show. It's one of those where the main characters go on these elaborate adventures. The dogs go on their elaborate adventures behind the back of their owner, Bob.
Inquisitor.
And I don't know why I'm explaining this in so much detail, but and kind of the neat part about it, in my view at least, is that it's one of those things like there's actually a lot of kid shows like this where it's a how do we put it? Yeah, the actual adventures are way scaled up from what they really are. Like they feel so huge to the characters because of who the characters are in their situation. It's a lot like Rugrats in that respect.
I have yet to observe the abyssal high dragon in. Oh, yes. Can I assist you?
Find your supplies.
I
I don't
the
need to say
supplies
this.
you were waiting for right here.
That'd be more like Mondays.
Some of our equipment is still missing. If you happen to find more of it, please let me know.
Okie doke.
We'll have to speak some other time.
All right. Anyway, but I was going to say that there's something about this show that so like I said, there's a lot I like about it. I actually think it's really creatively done, and it's interesting, and the characters are fun, and for the most part fun and delightful. However, there's one character who I like. I like mostly because Saoirse likes. I have to say, I do have to with that caveat. But beyond that, I like her, but she is, I think, an obvious sign of a writing problem with the show, and it's a writing problem that extends far beyond just kids shows. It's a problem that you see in a lot of media, especially long-running television. And the character is Kia. Kia is the next-door dog, who comes into the show. She started in season 2 or 3, I think. Something like that. After the show began. Because the first couple of seasons, I think this first 2 seasons or so, are just the two main characters, Bingo and Rolly, their owner Bob, and his cat, Hissy, who is only there occasionally. Rifleman asks, what show is this? Puppy Dog Pals. Like I said, I'm taking this way too seriously for a kid's show, but I tend to take kid shows rather seriously for various reasons. I can explain that too later. Oh, hello. Hey. Blackball, you okay? But anyway, I like Kia as a character for the most part, but I do think that she is wrong thing. She's not a well-written character. Or her part in the show is evidence of something like poor writing. And the reason for that is that she combines a couple of issues that you very often see in a lot of shows, movies, whatever, anything really. And she's kind of a little bit of both a sort of Cousin Oliver problem. So going back to like the Brady Bunch, where she is the new character that has been brought in for two reasons, because the existing characters and their dynamics are getting old, and so we need something new to mix it up. And then she's also cute. She's the new character whose primary character trait is adorableness, and it's usually, you'll find this in like sitcoms and things, where the former child actors, the child stars, are now starting to age up, so they're not as cute anymore. So you need a new cute kid character to come in. And this applies to Kia, because she is, I don't know technically, but I think she is significantly younger, or at least acts significantly younger than the two main characters. There we go. I get the impression that she is, at least. Nice. I'll take all those.
The name on the manifest is Frederick of Seralt. Didn't we meet him?
Yes. Yes, we did. We just talked to him. Gentleman. I'll get to that. Yeah, whatever. Do I need this? I do. I do. I don't. Alright, let's go. So she's got the kind of cousin Oliver problem, and then she's also, this is going to be an odd thing, again, an odd thing to criticize a puppy character in a children's cartoon, but she is a bit of a Mary Sue. She is immediately loved by everybody, which isn't a problem. It's a basically conflict-free show. The conflict all arises from circumstance, so that's fine. I don't really see a problem with that. But the problem is that the sort of Mary Sue part is that she's immediately hyper competent at everything that she does, including everything that the two main characters do. She in a lot of ways, in a lot of cases, replaces the main characters, and her only flaw is something like,
Good find.
I don't know if arrogance so much, but like rashness. That she goes and does things before everyone's ready to do them. But of course the other side of that is that she usually succeeds at it, and the boy dogs are following her around and saying, "Oh wait, no, you can't do that," and then she turns out she can. A lot of times that happens, and it's a bit irritating sometimes. Yeah, I should try that. Rifleman says, I would think it's it's good to take kids shows seriously because they can be quite formative for kids, and that's utterly critical to the job as parents. Yeah, absolutely, and that's more or less what I was going to say. I think that, I mean, a lot of people are more willing to like excuse bad writing, like contrived plots and flat characters and things like that. More likely to excuse that sort of thing in something that's written for kids. The most common version of this trope is when someone criticizes Star Wars and somebody says, it's a movie about space wizards written for children, or something ridiculous like that. And my response to that has to be that yeah, it is written for children. That means we should care more. Because adults know how to look past bad writing. Kids will internalize it because they don't know what to expect. They don't know what else to expect. I mean, for lack of a better way to say it, they don't know any better. I didn't flank. All? No, it's not. There we go. But yeah, I think that in media that is directed at kids, made for kids, I think we should honestly have higher standards because, like I said, like you said, it's very important that our kids have good media that they can learn from, say. But then also beyond that, I think it's important that our kids have good media so they can learn what good media is. Their kids are by nature not as discerning, and that means that we should train them to be discerning rather than exploit the fact that they can't tell good media from bad so that we can get away with writing stuff that's bad, you know? Taken care of. So Detrick says, I remember that was an issue with Charmed in the final season. A hyper-competent main character was added, which wasn't so bad because the main characters were horrible. That's true, and it can work. Like Honestly, I think that any trope that we usually think of as bad can be good if it's well done, well implemented, and in a place that makes sense. Like, implemented in a way that makes sense in the story. You can have... I really do think that you can have a Mary Sue character fit into the story and not be ridiculous. No, they might still be annoying. And that might just kind of have to be the way it is, just because watching somebody just show up and be loved by everyone for no good reason, and also be better than the main characters at something, yeah, that can be annoying to watch. That can be less than satisfying to watch, at least under a lot of circumstances. However, I think it can be fine. I think that can work, especially if it's done with some level of self-awareness. Or, yes, like you said, if they are a kind of Deus Ex Machina part of the plot. Like Matthew's example of Gandalf. Gandalf is a great example of this. He is hyper competent at literally everything that he does. Because of course he does. It makes sense from a lore perspective, but then also it makes sense from a sort of plot perspective. Wow, did I just break that pillar with a dagger? I did. I just knocked down this whole thing with a pair of daggers. That doesn't seem right. That's a dinosaur. Neat. I got it. Taken care of. Yeah, Gandalf is a fantastic example of this done right. There's no problem with Gandalf as a character, and that's the main reason that there's no problem with Gandalf as a character, is because it's his role in the story to be the hyper-competent save everybody at the perfectly opportune moment, and also the guide for everyone. And he's not always there. He shows up when he's needed. He knows when he's needed, and he shows up at appropriate times. All of which makes perfect sense. Or there are some cases where it can be fun. It can be enjoyable. Where these sort of Mary Sue type characters are... What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of an example where they show up and everyone loves them and they're super competent, and like there's one or two characters who notice that this is weird and suspicious. I'm thinking it might be someone from Buffy? I mean, a good example of this is how everyone just sort of suddenly likes Ben in, what was it, the second to last? Or was it the last season of Buffy? One of those last couple of seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, when Ben shows up. And suddenly everyone is like, oh, he's great. He's like perfect in every way. This is working somehow. This shouldn't work. It's lightning. There we go. Anyway. Rifleman says, this gets me thinking about Doc McStuffins. And I can appreciate the cases of toys having issues when they're exposed to something they weren't designed for, like sticky juice and bubble machine. Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a good... I use that as a lesson, because Saoirse loves Doc McStuffins, and I think that's really good. Herka says, yeah, it's fine until you're slowly driven to madness because you watch every single season in the span of a week because your child is obsessed and some other characters are annoying. So you remember that one bit from, I think in the last or the second to last season, one of the last few seasons of Parks and Recreation, when Ron Swanson marries the single mother, with the two relatively young girls, and he doesn't exactly know what to do with himself because he actually finds himself like staying at the office sometimes for the sake of silence, because as he says, there is no silence anymore. There's only Doc McStuffins. And I now understand I didn't really understand, because at the time I didn't know kids shows. I didn't know kids shows at all. I didn't even know what Doc McStuffins was. I didn't even know that it existed. I thought it was made up for the show. But no. It is a thing, and it is very much the opposite of silence. It is the opposite of silence. Anyway, so that's a thing. Reifman says, and Gandalf is old and experienced, so the lesson to learn from high ability of those older folks can be quite useful in life. Yeah, old and experienced, and also divine intervention. Gandalf has, for one, been around for what? At the time of the Lord of the Rings, he has been in Middle Earth for 2,000 or 3,000 years, I think. Because he arrived midway through the Third Age. It's never quite made clear, at least in the books, when he arrived during the Third Age. At least, not that I remember. It might be in the Silmarillion somewhere, but I don't recall exactly. As for exactly when the wizards showed up in Arda. But it was a few thousand years ago at least. So he is very old. He's been around a lot. And he's traveled a lot. Hey. Really? Okay. So then the other one, the other character who you didn't get this impression from the movies very well, this wasn't conveyed as nearly as well, but you do get it in the books, is Legolas. While he's not as well traveled and as worldly as Gandalf, he's just about as old. Legolas is really quite old. He's a young elf, but that just means he was born in this age. He's probably, I think most estimates put him in the 3000s as well. So he's been around a while. A very long while. And you get that kind of worldly wisdom from Legolas, at least sometimes in the books. Far, far more so than in the films. As much as, again, as great as the Peter Jackson adaptations were, and don't get me wrong, they're fantastic. But there are some things that they don't convey as well. And one of those is they kind of make Legolas seem young because he looks young. I mean, he's young for an elf. He's young compared to Elrond. He's young compared to Galadriel. That's not young. That's definitely not young. Erica says, I'll literally watch Bluey literally all day, every day, but I've banned Doc McStuffins for the rest of the month. Yeah, that happens sometimes. That has to happen sometimes for the sake of our sanity. No, I can't. Okay. See, it's hard to tell what aspects of the environment are destructible. Thought it might have been that one, but no, it's not. Nope, can't get through there. Anyway. Yeah, once in a while, you just kind of gotta say, okay, no, I think you've watched that enough. There was a while there. There was a little while there. I forget exactly when this was. It was a few months ago. I mentioned it on the stream. I remember it very clearly. That we meaning Saoirse and a bit Michael, watched all of the Toy Story movies. What? Must have been 4 or 5 times within a couple of weeks. All 4 of them. And that is when I came to the realization that 3 did not age nearly as well. Come on. Oh, geez, what happened to everyone? She have shield bash? Yes, she does. Logbook. Okay. Gosh, excuse me. Okay, you can't break it. Fine. Anyway. Datrick says, Doc McStuffin sounds cursed. I know nothing about it, but it sounds like a more annoying version of SpongeBob. No, it's not. As Erica says, I don't have a problem with SpongeBob. Erica hates SpongeBob. Absolutely loathes it entirely. I don't mind it, but it is there's not a lot of. Oh boy. I died. Cool. Yep, that's good. There's not a lot of value to SpongeBob. Let's put it that way. Okay, no, I can't get down there at all. Fine. Let's get that. Back to that. Anyway. Yeah, no, Doc McStuffins is okay. There's nothing, like, really wrong with it. But some of the characters are pretty annoying. And I will say, it is a very... It's an oddly girl show. Without being, like, stereotypically girly. Because, yeah, the main character is a girl, right? Doc is a girl. But the thing that I think makes it particularly, like, girly is how she plays. And
after more than 30 days, I have yet to observe
hold on.
the abyssal high dragon in...
Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, no, I need to...
Can I assist you?
Here you go.
I have the supplies you were waiting for right here.
I can't skip.
Now that I have my
Okay.
recipes,
Anyway, I'll just talk over him.
I'll
It's
be able to
basically
concoct a bait
oh, no.
the high
Never mind.
dragon cannot resist. I have most of what I need, but I still need to gather quillback intestines and a phoenix's tail feather.
I think I have that stuff. But, no.
We'll have to speak some other time.
When we do our dragon hunting stream, I'll go do that, perhaps. Okay. There's a shard and a bunch of other stuff that way. Yeah, let's go that way. Anyway. Rifleman says, I don't actually like Paw Patrol because it seems so contrived. It's bizarre, but Saoirse absolutely loves it. In part because we barely ever watch it, because we don't. I don't know where to, like, stream it really easily, at least. And so we don't really watch it at home. Eric says every episode of Paw Patrol is exactly the same. You see one, you've seen them all. That is true. That is very true. A lot of the problems they solve are not especially creative, from what I have seen. And I haven't seen a lot, but from what I have seen, they're not especially creative. And so most of what Saoirse at least has seen in Paw Patrol is from her grandparents' house, from my parents, because they find it somehow, which is weird, because they're not. Neither of them are the least bit tech savvy. I don't know. Honestly, I think they just record it from cable. Either way. Doesn't really make too much difference. But yeah, I did kind of want to see the movie, though. It's very, from what I have heard, it's very, like, hyper free market. It's very, like, I don't know if I want to mischaracterize it, but privatize the cops kind of thing. And one of the primary bad guys is the mean mayor, which is great. Great, love that. Love that stuff. Made me really want to watch the movie, but never did. Never did.
Cassandra.
Seeker Cassandra, if you must address me.
Seeker Cassandra.
But I would rather you not address me at all.
What happened to "it's never too late to become more than what you are"?
A man who truly aspired to be righteous would not lie. He would earn respect, not steal the respect due another.
Ouch. That was rough. Oh, Eric, you're thinking of Paw Patrol. Because I thought we were talking about Puppy Dog Pals. It's the one where the plot is exactly the same every episode. I don't know anything about Puppy Dog Pals except Marshall's favorite. No, Marshall. That's Paw Patrol. The one with Marshall and the where they're basically like a rescue team kind of thing. Which, you're right, the plot gets very samey. Paw Patrol is actually, Puppy Dog Pals is actually pretty creative. Really do like it. Now, to be fair, once again, that's another one where sometimes some of the characters can get a little bit annoying. Even by kid show standards, the characters can get a little annoying. But it can, at least sometimes, have some really redeeming and creative thinking going on. Creative stuff. Yeah, Marshall's Paw Patrol. Puppy Dog Pals is they are both about dogs going on weird adventures. With extreme high technology. Puppy Dog Pals is the one with Bingo and Rolly, the two pugs, which, to be fair, that is probably my least favorite part about the series, is because they are pugs, which are basically what happens when man spits in the face of God. Pugs might be my least favorite dog breed. There's competition for the more aggressive ones, like the stupid little rat dogs, like Chihuahuas and such, and the bred to be hyper dangerous ones, like pit bulls and things like that. But yeah, no, I don't like pugs. They're specifically bred to be disgusting. Ah. Welcome back, Kylie. Tell your mom I said hi as you're annoying her. Puppy Dog Pals. Oh wait, Puppy Dog Pals is samey and annoying? Really? I didn't think so. I don't think it's that samey. I mean, they always go on an adventure to go find a thing, but a lot of the ways that they have to go and find their solutions are actually interesting and creative. Annoying? I'll give you. I'll grant you that. I'll grant you that. The two main character dogs can get very annoying. Which is why, as often is the case, my favorite character is the cat. Hissy. She just can't. She just can't with these two. Most of the time. Just not putting up with this. She just doesn't want to deal with it. Let's see. Yeah, that's up there, isn't it? Way up there. Anyway. Yeah, like I said, I do think that... Oh, so what I was saying earlier, I got sidetracked. Talking about Doc McStuffins being a very girl show, is that how she plays with her toys is very archetypally little girl. Not just little girl, but girl in general. And it's that this is just from developmental psychology, is that typically girls will take their toys and for their imagination games will use their toys to play. They'll bring the toys into their game. Whereas boys typically will. Did I miss a shard? How did I miss that? I don't want to go up that way. Or do I want to go over this way? I'll go back this way and then up that way. How about that? Is that dragon? I thought I just heard wings go whoosh. Anyway. At least it's difficult typing these new nails. Oh my god, I love the claws they inhibit sometimes. Yeah. It's one of those that like long nail extensions are very they inhibit the kinds of things that you're able to do efficiently. Some things is totally fine, but some things you just look and you just see that and it's like, no, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna be the kind of thing to do. I have no experience with long nails, but I know I can spot that sort of thing by observation. Anyway, so like I said, the sort of girl form of play that I think Doc McStuffins really exhibits is where she will bring the toys into her imagination game. What she is doing. Whereas boys, when they're doing some kind of imaginative play sort of thing, they will let the toys be what they are, and they will themselves imitate the toys. They will place themselves into the toy game, in a manner of speaking. Now there's overlap here and there's exceptions and all that sort of stuff, but for the most part, what you'll find here is these kinds of these two sort of archetypes of how games work for boys playing with toys and girls playing with toys, particularly, like I said, for imaginative kind of play, where I think a perfect example of this, which is a weirdly perfect example, is if you look at Andy versus Bonnie in the Toy Story movies, where Andy becomes like hyper obsessed with cowboys and then with space because Woody and Buzz, whereas Bonnie takes the toys and brings them into her games, the games that she is inventing and playing. And I think that they did that really well. That difference, they made that difference work quite well in Toy Story 3 and 4, where to sort of exhibit that difference. Not super long. They look more naturally grown, but still having claws is hard sometimes. Yeah, I wouldn't know. Like I said, I have no experience with long fingernails. I've been chewing my nails since I was born, basically, and I have unfortunately passed the bad habit onto the kids, for the most part. Not something I'm pleased with myself about, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's a really interesting sort of early gender difference that usually manifests. Not perfectly, like I said, but for the most part it does. And in my experience, even so far, it really does. Even like at ages 2 and 4, Saoirse has her games that she will play, and she will bring her toys to do the things, right? Whereas Michael will get a toy and will do a thing with it. Do the toy thing with it. like he's got his typical toys, and he's got his sister's toys as well, and he'll treat them each individually quite rather differently because of what they are, far more so than Saoirse does. And that's already pretty innate. Yeah, I do, like I said, I like the, I like when something, when like media will play into something like that. Will play into, let's call it a gender stereotype, but not by just making things pink, you know? Make something that is genuinely girly, and therefore, like, and by that I mean, you know, the kind of thing that is particularly interesting to girls because it matches the way that they already are playing with their toys, you know? Oops. The only thing... Oh, it's already used up. The only thing that I'm a little bit disappointed is that there was never a Toy Story crossover with Doc McStuffins. You would totally expect that sort of thing. Because they're both Disney. It's on the Disney Channel, or was. I would have totally expected that sort of thing to happen. Kind of disappointed that it didn't. Okay. By the way, I haven't really been watching my levels. If the game is too loud or anything compared to me talking, do let me know. I can either turn it down, move this microphone a little closer to my face, whichever. I did get rid of the pop filter on my microphone, so if that's a problem, if I'm getting any audio issues, let me know. Got him. Also, just in general, if it sounds good, if it sounds better usually, I'll put the filter back on. It just obscures a bit of the camera and obscures a bit of my screen and that sort of thing. It's slightly inconvenient. Oh, they did a Winnie the Pooh crossover? Did they really? How did I not see that one? I don't think I ever saw that one. Yeah, let's rest. I don't think I ever saw the Winnie the Pooh crossover. Huh.
Inquisitor.
That's a good idea. Genuinely very good idea. Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't realize I did that. I'll have to pay slightly more attention once the embargo is lifted. Oh, God. Popped one. Ow. Ow. Another one. I hate these explodey things. Also them jumping. This is so irritating. Oh, poor Blackwell. Poor Blackwell, he just sounds distraught. What is that? Oh, shard. Let's go get that one. Oh, I see it. Okay. I'm gonna magic us up a bridge for the end. Cool. Thanks. No shooting me. Okay. Oh, I need to...
No good. We'll have to find another way.
This is the thing I have to open from the other side, isn't it? Okay. Well, in that case, I will just quick travel back here. Easy peasy. Easy enough, at least. Coffee. I mean, I can just kill a phoenix. I know that. What's this? Or what's... No, not that. Let's do that. Where's the Kevin person? I actually don't know where the Kevin person is. He has been coming in late once in a while lately. But with stuff going on. So that's a possibility. He might be out. He might be by later. Da-dee-da-dee-da. Hello. Ouchies. Somebody feel, of course, free to bother Kevin person on Facebook. Or Discord, or wherever he happens to be. I won't complain. Don't need... Okay, up and back. Up. Oh, jeez, guys, come on. Anyway. Let's see if this works. I went to put Monica in her bassinet, Erica says. Michael's asleep sideways in our bed using my pillow as a blanket. Laid out like a starfish. Of course he is like a starfish. He has no other way of being. He is a starfish. He's a land starfish. He's a star... boy. God, I hate these stupid things. Did we talk about teleology yet? Not really. So... this actually relates closely to, hang on. Oh, you need to use those as enemies in your game? The terrors? The ones that teleport? Oh, God, those would be really... honestly, yes. Those would be really good in Curse of Strahd. Those would be really good in Curse of Strahd. I really do hate them. Honestly, they're not my they're not the kind of demon that I hate the most. That would be the despair demons. The little floaty ones that are constantly doing like a beam of cold at you. Those are probably worse. Back here. There we go. Ooh, nice. Anything else? No. Yeah, the despair demons are probably worse. Anyway, the point I wanted to make about teleology is closely related to it's in the keep, isn't it? And this is not a quest I'm gonna do yet, is it? No, it's not. Is it? I feel like there's a quest to actually go into this and take this thing over. And that I'm jumping the gun here if I just do it now. And I might not actually be able to even accomplish anything. Need to get over there, don't I? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm already here, so I might as well. Anyway. The point I wanted to make about teleology is closely related to my recent-ish video on David Hume. And how he ruined everything. It's working. All right. Why am I invisible? Torch it up. Anyway, the video I had about why David Hume is primarily to blame for people in current year and since then, really, not being able to define things like woman. But this applies beyond just women as well. This applies beyond just gender type stuff. This applies more broadly to being able to define things by their essences. Where are you guys going? Alright. See ya. Oh, can't just do that. There's ramparts up here that we gotta take out too. Anyway. What brought this up was a conversation, debate, call it what you want, I had on Facebook not too long ago. Did they just jump down? Oh no, please don't. Please say you didn't do that. Please say psych. Oh boy. Well, this is gonna suck. They're stuck there forever. Anyway, moving on then. Yeah, it was about. This is, I'm currently trying to find a first-year anniversary gift. Nothing feels like a first anniversary worthy gift. Huh. There's things for that. Ugh, I really can't I? I need to open that door. I don't have to go back all the way back through. How do I open the door? It's got to be over here somewhere. Oh, hey, a thing.
Shall we knock?
Gladly.
How do I open this door? Oh, everyone teleports back to me. Cool. Do they? No, just Blackwall. But yeah, there's traditional gifts for an anniversary, aren't they? You can go for that sort of thing. Although that also may be specifically like wedding anniversary, so yeah. Yeah, I don't know. No expert on such matters. In any case, though, what brought this up was a point somebody made in the wake of the Roe v. Wade leak about what was I forget exactly the point being made. The short version of it, though, was making a comparison between an unborn child, so a fetus, so to speak, and someone on life support, and that it's permissible, it's ethically permissible, at least by most standards, to disconnect life support. to functionally allow somebody to die, who otherwise would not survive, on their own, which you can argue is the equivalent to a child. However, the difference, of course, is teleological, and this led to me saying something snarky, but overall not overly edifying, unfortunately. That's not good. I need that bridge. As I mentioned something, I said something like, how this is what happens when you don't teach teleology in schools, which I still hold to that. That first of all, that we ought to be teaching teleology, including relatively early on, but that not doing so leads to our inability to understand the world in a really fundamental way. And it leads to making bad comparisons, like comparing the coming into being from to the passing out of being. These are obviously very different things. So if I put it in straightforward terms, it is equating that which is becoming with that which is becoming not. So, strictly speaking, it's a direct logical contradiction. And man, it's a big one. It's a huge logical contradiction, but it's the kind that, quite honestly, a lot of people don't notice that it's contradictory. Don't need that. Is this gonna work? This is not, is it? Oh god. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, and the reason they don't notice it is because they don't notice that it's that one has innate tendencies, final causes, teleology, ends, that it is developing into, that is developing towards innately, whereas the other does not. It lacks those sorts of things, precisely because it is passing out of being. It had certain capacities, but no longer does, because it is losing them. It is gradually losing those capacities. And of course, this led to a pointless dispute about things that were off topic. People assumed that what I was talking about was final causes or ends teleology in terms of potential person kind of stuff. There's nothing to do with what I was saying. But maybe I should have been clearer from the outset.
Here, Inquisitor! I am ready to serve!
Die.
The warrior!
Ow. I'm getting wrecked here. But this is, I think, like I said, why I equate this to a problem with Hume is because it seems like we're in a place where we can understand what something currently is by its, to use a more Aristotelian term, by its actualities, but we cannot define things by their essences, by their potentialities, by their innate tendencies, anything like that. We can't understand things in terms of becoming, only in terms of being, and we fail to notice. Oh my god! We fail to notice that things coming into being in a certain way, is part of their innate intrinsic nature. We fail to realize this because we've eliminated final causality and, quite frankly, usually formal causality from our understanding of the world. We think of things in terms of material cause, and sometimes, although sometimes not, in terms of efficient cause, what puts something into its configuration. That's all, pushing. pushing causes. That's it. That's all we really think about. That and the materiality of things, the material structure of things. Molecules in motion, so to speak. Okay, so you lose all damage resistance, and it blocks one melee attack every 30 seconds. 75% chance to heal for half health when you die. Resist a lethal strike once every 60 seconds. Damn. A narrow leather band embossed with a design popular in Hanleith some years ago. A tuft of orange fur is caught in the buckle. Spirits whisper across the veil, but their voices are unclear. Briefly, they conjure the memory of a little girl. Wait a minute. Hanleith. That's the... Remember that quest in Dragon Age Origins, where there was a little girl who was being trapped in her father's basement by a demon that had taken the form of a cat? It's this. This is directly involved in that. Cool. I love little callbacks like that. Anyway, cool, neat. Ellie says, I want to have it special to him, but also relevant to our relationship. I found a gold Pokemon card that could be a thing. That sounds pretty cool. I have a couple of those somewhere. Those were a big promotional thing in, I think, the late 90s? Late 90s. I think around the time of the first movie. Like, I don't know, 97 or 8. I'll do that in a moment. Let me loot everything and find everything first. Nice, 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 nice. It is true. We really don't. We don't do much in terms of like birthdays or anniversary presents or things. I usually will just get. I'll get you something if it's the kind of thing that. Ooh, not that. Hold on. If I'll get you something if it's the kind of thing that I I ought to be getting you and that you like. Okay, so, well, this is easy enough, I think. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Oh, this one's tricky. This is way trickier than it should be. Okay, so if I... No. Okay, I think I know. I think I know what I'm doing. Yeah, there it is. And boom. Got it. All right. Move myself back down. Cool. Tough. Ancient Divinter God, the Dragon of Fire. Alright. Cool. Anyway. Yeah, I think it really, our lack of teleology, our lack of understanding things in terms of teleology is partially responsible or largely responsible for a lack of ability to understand things in terms of their whole being or their whole substance rather than simply observing what they currently are, right? We have this issue with, I mean, this comes up in all sorts of things. This comes up, we can also say, well, I mean, in terms of the kind of thing that we're talking about, this comes up in terms of personhood. Right? There's all kinds of philosophical problems surrounding personhood because of things like the Ship of Theseus problem. The fact that I, materially, am constantly changing. And also, I'm also mentally constantly changing. My beliefs, my ideas, my personalities, all of that is constantly shifting.
We're reasonably well entrenched here, but the keep's water supply has been problematic. It's causing delays. I'll prepare the troops for inspection at once.
Yeah, it's that because I am constantly changing in basically every way, there's very little that is contiguous, and well, no, not contiguous, that persists over time completely about me. Right? Every cell in my body has been replaced since I've been born, but I'm the same person. Right? Yeah, but there's a term for this in the sciences, and I can't remember what it's called. It's something structures. Dissipative. That's it. It's a dissipative structure. Which is really just a rediscovery of final causality and substantial form, because it is a thing which persists over time even though the components of the thing change. It's something like a wave, or something like a whirlpool. Whirlpool is a great example of this. You see a whirlpool spiraling down a drain, right? The actual water in the whirlpool is constantly changing at an alarming rate. That's the whole point. That's what's making it happen. Hence, dissipating. It is a structure as it dissipates. Just as a human being is dissipating as we approach death, that sort of thing. But because there is constantly something flowing through the structure, a material cause, which is constantly changing, but part of the structure is ordered by the form of the thing. The form of the thing is what defines it as what it is, not the particular configuration of matter. Hence, the, broadly speaking, Aristotelian ship of Theseus problem solution is that the one that it has continued to exist is the real ship of Theseus. So if you have the ship, say, you're probably familiar with this if you saw WandaVision, or if you take a philosophy class, it's actually used well there. I actually kind of like it. But if you have something which is, so the ship of this ancient Greek mariner, Theseus, the legend goes that over the years, it is gradually replaced, plank by plank by plank by plank, and all of the previous planks are, they fall to the bottom of the ocean, or they are cast away, or they're set aside, or whatever. And so eventually, every component of the ship is completely replaced. Is it the same ship? Now, for an Aristotelian, or for somebody who understands substantial form, or a Platonist for that matter, a Socratic, let's say, yes, same ship, because it is the same form and is contiguous with the previous, with the existing vessel. Now, the weird part of this situation, I don't remember if WandaVision actually used this part of it, of the thought experiment, but suppose we ask further, what if you took all of the discarded components of the ship, and out of them, built a complete vessel, a complete ship? Now, which one is the real ship of Theseus? Is it the reconstructed one from all of the original components? Or is it the new one? Or the new, meaning the continuous one, the one made from new parts? It's obviously the one that's made from the contiguous parts. Because the same way that we can say that the matter and molecules that have passed through my body and used to be part of my body, if I reconstituted that into a new body, that wouldn't be my body, this would. Obviously. My body is not dispersed throughout the world right now. It's right here. We all know this. This is intuitively obvious. The problem is that both pre-Socratics and modern philosophers have no way of explaining it. Because we are basically, right now, in terms of... Colleagues will get mad at me when I say this, but it's true, so hands off me. We right now, in academic philosophy, and therefore in most academic disciplines, aside from applied science, in most academic disciplines, we are approximately at the level of the 7th or 6th century BC in the Mediterranean. The sort of Western Mediterranean world. We are pre-Socratic right now. We have lost so much that we are still stuck at the time before Socrates. We have not yet had this re-realization of what the world is really like and how do we properly understand it. We're stuck here. And by we, I mean most of the West. By most of the West, I mean the West that has very intentionally abandoned ancient classical philosophical traditions in favor of modernism and therefore what follows from it, postmodernism. Everyone who follows Hume, basically. Not just Hume. Hume, Descartes, Spinoza is another big culprit of this. Spinoza just reinvented Parmenides, the ancient pre-Socratic philosopher, with some modern scientific sounding things. Oh, best thing, Kylie. You found the best thing. Really? That's quite the claim. All right, what about let's ask about bandits while we're waiting to hear about the best thing.
Report. What's the situation in the Warden's fortress?
Bandits moved in. Worse than quillbacks, if you ask me. They're holed up in there and using it as a base to strike at our supply caravans. Blasted scavengers.
All right, what about the
What's wrong
rest
with
of the
water
problems?
supply?
The fort's well is full of garbage.
Yeah.
Blasted Venatori threw corpses in there. There's an oasis nearby, but a Vargist claimed it. Doing a decent job of keeping us away, too. 4 soldiers have already fallen to venom and claws. We'll need reinforcements to drive the monster out.
Golly, there's a link. There's a space in that link, and I cannot at least easily follow that from my phone. You'll need to vaguely describe it, at least. I may be able to follow that eventually, but not now. Sadly. What is that?
What can you tell
Was
me
that a
about the
screenshot?
Darkspawn in the area?
The
Yes.
Darkspawn seem to have emerged since we took the keep. I've warned the troops not to engage unless absolutely necessary. We don't need a
Oh, I
blight
love those
in the
things.
ranks.
I love
We
those
have to
things.
find whatever hole the monsters came from and seal it.
Is that one of those like 3D laser etched cube things? I love those. I remember when those were like new. When those were a new, amazing, big
Carry
deal
on, Captain.
in like the
Yes,
mid
Inquisitor.
90s. It was when I was a kid. Disney was like pioneering it. I just yeah, it's right here. But those are really neat. Those are really, really neat. What's that? Did the Astrarium. We've got the keep. We're going there. What's over there? What's this now? It looks like it's in the keep, but we need to go to... Oh, it's down there. Okay. All right. But yeah, anyway, that is a
If you get the Red Lyrian, would you know before?
Andraste willing, we'll never know.
that is one of those things where I
It is spoiled.
See is what you get.
don't need that. I don't need that. That. Or that. Or that. Over Blackwall, okay. I don't think there's anything in here I really need. No. Okay. All right. Anyway. Oh, it changed color?
Wanted
Oh,
this
cool.
done an hour ago.
Is it? I'm assuming it's one of those like it's on a base that deals with the color and such. Because I've seen those sorts of things before, and they were very, very cool. They're very cool. Patrick says there was an argument that what makes a person is less about the flesh and blood or the ego, and more about the legacy we leave. Every kindness or cruelty, people live in the memories of those we know long after we die. I've always appreciated that outlook, if only for how removed it is from attempts to anchor personhood in the ego. There is something to that, and it draws attention to the fact that we are innately social beings. Right? That a large part of who and what we are is...
We can't cross this.
The darkspawn got through. I'll have to see what our people at Skyhold can do.
There we go. There, cool. But yeah, it's an important reminder. Now, even if I don't think that it is completely constitutive of identity, exactly. Because I do think identity is properly rooted in the soul, which, I mean, we can describe, I think, most competently as that which is it's our formal structure, let's say. The form of the human being is the soul, and I think that is what is definitive of
Where did they come from? We need to find out.
what makes me an individual. I mean, our individuality is a result of that which is that structure, which is contiguous over time. That structure which we remain, in other words. That which is our sort of central organizing principle, that which guides our growth and continuation, something like that. Which I mean, I would argue is a non-physical, or call it metaphysical type of thing, precisely because some of the operations of that soul, some of that which makes us continue and develop, that at least some of that is distinctively immaterial. We have immaterial operations, namely abstraction, rational abstraction, and this is really Plato's argument for the immortality of the soul as well.
The air is poisoned. We can't get through.
Lady Base.
Someone at
Cool.
Skyhold will have a solution.
Yeah. That said, part of what that does, part of what that aspect of ourselves does, is it links us to one another. It makes us,
That's the grandmother of all locks. Getting in here.
I have to go another way. Another backwards way. It's annoying. That's really annoying. Okay, let me see if I can get to that wherever it is, or if that's in the death cloud. Yeah, it looks like it's in the death cloud, isn't it? That's in the death cloud. Really? There we go. Yeah, no, that's in the death cloud. Anyway, but I do think that, like I said, it is part of what our soul does, is that it situates us, or I mean, to say that what our soul does and differentiating that from what we do is a little bit pedantic. So what part of what we do and part of what makes us who and what we are is the fact that we situate ourselves within a particular social arrangement. So, which is why I say, someone raised the question to me some time ago, and this is honestly a really common question in a lot of sort of philosophy seminars, that sort of thing. And it's the question of what would you be? How would you define yourself if not for your relationships? How would you define yourself other than a member of a family or a member of an organization or something like that? Right? And my counter to that is always it's incoherent. It's nonsensical to do that. You are abstracted. You're desperately trying to abstract yourself away from what makes you a human person, as distinct from makes you an animal. Right? Because we human beings are not just we are not only rational animals, we are political animals. And we are always already and innately... This isn't going to work, is it? Fine. We are always already innately in relationships, in relationships with other people. If we aren't, if somehow we were not in some way relating ourselves to other people, we wouldn't be people. Aristotle said something I think that's entirely correct, that that a man without a society, and he said polis in particular, but we can just expand this to say society in general, but a man without any society, without social relationships, is either a beast or a god. Must either be more than a man or less than a man. By man here, we just mean human being, of course. Either superhuman or subhuman. So it's impossible, he says, for a person to be a person and to not be social. And so therefore, part of what a person is a social creature. Is the fact that we are, in fact, part of a society, and we have a particular social arrangement, we have particular social ties, and all that sort of thing. That is, in fact, essential to us. And so, it's not so simple as to say, well, what if you were not your own particular social arrangement? What if you were of a different family, or of a different community, or whatever, nationality, or even things like that? Then you'd be a different person. Like, metaphysically speaking, you would be a different person. Part of who and what you are is determined by who you interact with and what you do socially, what you do in society. That is more than accidental to who and what you are. I often get the counter to this, which, I'll be honest, is the counter that Aristotle encountered. Because he says that that's not just what a human person is, but that's what a person is. And he can't encounter this problem of, okay, well, what about, or Aristotelians at least can't encounter the problem of, what about God? Because God is supposed to be entirely self-sufficient and requires nothing beyond himself to exist and to be, and to have his essence, to have the divine essence. And of course, conveniently, the Christians have a great answer to this. Because they can just point to a very unique doctrine about God, which I think doesn't quite follow from this idea, but it's highly consonant with it, as somebody like Duns Scotus would say. And that's the doctrine of the Trinity. That God is intrinsically, essentially, and by nature, not just a person, but a community of persons. That the divine nature, something essential to the divine nature, is community. Communion, if you will. That without such communion, there would be no divine nature. There would be... The divine nature would, in fact, as per this objection, be incoherent. Be sub-personal. Not qualify properly as a person. You're gonna attack us, aren't you? You are. Which, by the way, that is a large part of why... that's a large part of St. Anselm's argument for the Trinity, is that it does accomplish these ends of making the community of God intelligible. The sort of communal aspect of God. It makes that intelligible. Now, I will add to that though, because that a lot of philosophers misread Anselm's Monologion, where he makes these arguments, misread this and take the reading that what they think Anselm is doing is trying to prove the Trinity, prove the doctrine of the Trinity from natural reason, and he's not doing that. He's very clearly not doing that. He's not setting out to do that. He is explicitly clear that that's not what he's doing, because that's impossible, and he knows it, and everyone knows it. No, what he is doing is very explicitly fides quaerunt intellectum, faith-seeking understanding. He, like every other Christian, acknowledges that it is the only way we know the doctrine of the Trinity is through special revelation, through the scriptures, in other words. The self-revelation of God. And without that, there could be no knowledge of the Trinity. And so instead, what Anselm is trying to do when he's making these arguments for the Trinity, so to speak, is he's not making a strictly and purely rational argument for the Trinity, trying to prove the doctrine of the Trinity from reason alone. Rather, what he's doing is he's trying to argue for the consonance, or the intelligibility of the doctrine. He's arguing that, given what we know from Revelation, that we know that that God is Trinity and all that, God is triune, let's say, that given that we know all of that all of it makes sense with the other things that we know about what the divine nature must be like, that it all fits, that it's not contradictory, it's not nonsensical, and it is just the kind of thing that one would expect. In other words, it's a good explanation. Not, obviously not, that it is an explanation that he could have come up with on his own. Right? That is obviously not... oh, come on. It's obviously not where he's going with that. So, all right. Can't get that one. We can do that one if we want. Circle tomes. Exalted Plains. Where's the Exalted Plains? Is that where we are? Which is the Exalted Plains? This one. Okay, cool. So... Oh gosh, there's a lot here. I forgot how much there is to do here. This is going to be the next thing, isn't it? Can I switch my companions to the Dalish camp? No, I can't. Alright, well, let's just go here. Switch people out. Do a little bit of questing and exploring on our way over there. We will bring Solus, Vivienne, but I need to upgrade her armor at some point. Solus, Vivienne, her sword, her magic sword thing, her lightsaber, and Blackwall? Yeah, Blackwall. He knows the area well, so to speak, unfortunately. Knowing that he used to be a war criminal over here in this area. Ooh. Here we go. Yeah, Dedrick, what do you think of all that? I have I've expanded on what you said, I think, a fair bit. A very significant amount. We need Solus. Oh, wrong button. My Solus hurt. Already? What is this?
Inquisitor.
Or is there anything else worth talking about on that subject? Or, alternatively, Erica, if you have my list of things that I wanted to talk about but forgot to on Monday, that's always something. Can I get over there? Let me see if I can. Because if I can, I'll go and get that shard. Yeah, I can. Look at that. Oh, wanting to digest, trying to get your words together. Oh, no, I understand that completely. Go for it. Take your time. What is happening here? Oh, those are actual corpses they're using for target practice. That is horrifying. That's horrifying. There. I mean, yeah. Oh gosh, that's a heck of a thing. Can I get over there and back easily? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Okay. That was it? Really? That was it? Okay. I thought I had another thing or two. Really? Alright, so let's blast that for me. Really? Okay, cool. Taken care of. Now. Oh my god. Oh, they're just gonna keep coming, aren't they? I forgot about this. I have to go to the thing. I have to go burn this, before, or they'll keep coming forever. There.
Is this the work of the Fade Rifts? Demons?
Do you feel that? Spirits are being deliberately drawn here.
There may be more of these pits. We'll have to find them.
Great. That's horrible. Go over there. Oh, I didn't really talk about Fallen Order. I mean, that's more of a Monday thing because it's Star Wars. Another Star Wars game. I did mention Fallen Order and that I liked it, but I didn't mention so much what I thought was wrong with it. I didn't really criticize it. I really only talked about the good aspects, which is not like me. Especially given that I do think that there are some significant thematic problems with Fallen Order. All right. What do you guys think? Should I talk about Fallen Order? I mean, it's a Star Wars game, so maybe it'd be better to save until Monday, but, I mean, I have a lot of audience overlap between these two, so maybe I will. I don't know. If you guys are interested, anybody in the chat, if you're interested in some thoughts on Fallen Order and some of my criticisms, do go ahead and let me know. I will go into it if you'd like. There we go. Here we go. What's in here? Okay. Okay. Cool. Some stuff. Alright. Some stuff. I need to go up there. Oh, jeez. The mountain climbing part of this game is, not an intended mechanic, but it sure is a mechanic. Basically Skyrim style. You can pretty much climb stuff. It's just... it's not really an intended mechanical aspect. Pocket stabby thing? Got him or are contemplating getting? Because I very highly recommend this little one. It is an Italian little folding knife. It's smallish, nice little thing. Old bear. Like so. Very nice. Very, very nice. It's not exactly stabby. It's a nice little utility knife, but it's a very nice little utility knife. One that I very highly recommend as far as it goes. Very affordable too, and they're all like handmade and all that. Very nice. Old Bear, that is. Not in any way sponsored. Just, sharing a product that I've made very good use of. You've been wanting one forever. Yeah, I mean, it's always good to have a knife. If you don't carry a knife, you should. So, and again, not even like as a weapon. Somebody was talking about knife carrying and such, and it being just sort of a part of civilized society. I think it is. And he says, they brought up a really, really good point. It's about, like, well, why would you carry a knife? Well, why would you not carry a knife? In case you need to cut something. Because you probably will need to cut something. Whether the something is packaging, whether the something is food, whether the something is like strings or ropes or anything that you would need to cut, which I find situationally all the time. There are things that I need to just pull out my pocket knife and cut. It's so much easier than trying desperately to tear things, In fact, I usually carry 2 pocket knives. I also have a very small little Swiss Army knife, which is a great little tool as well. Because it also has a little file, a little flathead screwdriver, a little scissors, tweezers, toothpick, all manner of things. Swiss Army knives are always great too. They're crappy weapons. Like they're not weapons, strictly speaking. They're really not. But it's great. It is great to have. And whatever source I'm remembering this from mentioned, like at the end of what he was saying, he's like, well, what if you don't need to use it as a weapon? What if you never needed to use a weapon? What if you lived in a society where no one ever had to use weapons? And the guy says something like, well, in that case, I'd probably carry a bigger knife because it wouldn't freak people out. and it'd probably be more useful. And man, I get that. Like, if it weren't weird, if it weren't unsettling to people, I'd probably just have a fairly large fixed blade knife on my belt. Or in my boot, or something like that. Somewhere that's relatively accessible, relatively out of the way. But the kind of thing that would be very useful from a utility standpoint, that, let's be honest, a little folding knife is not always. I'd probably have a nice sized fixed blade knife if it weren't weird to open carry what people think of as a weapon like that, you know? And man, it's a solid point. Where is this last thingy? Am I gonna have to just grid pattern it? I am, aren't I? Anybody sees a little flash? Oh, no. And I don't. That one. There it is. Got it. All right. But yeah, I think that I do really think that, like, carry a knife. It's very useful. It's a phenomenally useful tool. Nah, I'm not going to deal with the shards just yet. I'll come back to that. Let's go to the rift. There's a rift right over here. Yeah, like self-defense aside, yeah, it's very, very useful to have. Edric says, Trinity discussions are always interesting. I've begun studying the early development of Christianity as it pertains to the Trinity, from the 1st and 2nd century, basically any time before the Council of Nicaea. Both academic or cultural sentiments during that time. Most of my substantive understanding so far is Arius' philosophy. So it's interesting here the pro-Trinity rationale he relayed. Yeah, Arius was a noted, let's broadly say anti-Trinitarian. But that's maybe overly broad. It's not exactly that Arius was anti-Trinitarian, so much as... Do I really not have Spell Purged? Crap. Or Dispel, or whatever. I need to get Dispel for him, I keep forgetting that. In Spirit. Next time I level up Solus, anybody remind me I need to get Dispel. Yeah, the documents of the Council of Nicaea, the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed, the Athanasian Creed, Athanasius basically, provides a fantastic, not only a rationale for the Trinity, but also it explains the doctrine. Pardon me. It explains the doctrine in a relatively clear and comprehensible way. And that is really saying something for Trinitarianism, for Trinitarian theology. It's because it's wildly complicated. I would also recommend moving forward a little bit in time, but looking to, as I said, Anselm, in the latter chapters of the Monologion. I think it's the Monologion where he goes into Trinitarianism. It might be the Proslogion. I might be misattributing that. Detrick says, as I understand it, his arguments frame Jesus as a demigod, half human and half god. Basically, yes. It's something like that. It's that Jesus is... What is specifically the Arian heresy? I'm trying to remember this exactly. It's that Christ is not God, but is the Messiah, the anointed one of God. Something like that. And so takes on divine attributes qua human, only has a human nature, in other words. And a lot of this is because of legitimate theological concerns for things like divine simplicity, because it seems like divine simplicity is
apart from all the destruction,
is violated twofold if you assume that one, God is three persons, obviously. But then further, if God takes on or can take on a human nature, that certainly seems like a violation of divine simplicity, right? And I think that's a significant problem that needs to be overcome by Trinitarians, by Trinitarian theology. It really is a problem that needs to be overcome. It's not just it's something we can hand wave away. And I think that, like I said, Anselm manages a good deal, manages a lot to deal with some of those problems. He does, I think. I would probably say that Anselm has probably the most robust defense of the Trinity, at least until you get to Thomas Aquinas. Because I do think that Aquinas probably has a more thorough explanation of the Trinity. But he's doing it in a more explanatory way, whereas Anselm is doing it in a more defensive sort of way. He's defending the Trinity from objections, because by the time Anselm comes around in the 13th century, almost everyone in Christendom is a Trinitarian, and so it's mostly a if anything, it's an academic discussion. Thoughtbot, make it die, kill it dead. What in the world? That is oh god, that's disturbing. Erica, kill it dead. Jesus, that is a really disturbing ad. Don't do that. Don't do that, guys. Don't. Come on, really? How do I get over there? Eh. You've got to go up this way. There's a demon? Man, some of these Thoughtbot ads are just getting really disturbing. Anyway. No, go away, demons. You're not where I want to be. Go up here. Leave me alone, demons. And whatever demon was in our live chat. Oh yeah, YouTube moderator can't remove the whole thing. It does ultimately go away. I know at least on the restream, on the VOD, it is not in the chat anymore. I've actually gone back and checked that and made sure. Because those are, once you remove them, they're gone. Like, it doesn't show the name anymore or nothing. It is utterly gone. I don't know how to get up there. Yeah, on the replay it's gone, but currently it does. It's still there. Eric says I can delete the message, but if the message is their name, then it still shows up instead of, you know, removing their message entirely. Yeah, that's... Ugh. They figured out a way through. They figured out a way through. I mean, I almost respect their cleverness in getting past moderation tools. Oh, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I'm convinced I can do it. Maybe if I do... I don't know if I can do this. Ah! Yeah, Kylie saw it and spaced out and then saw it suddenly and was like, ugh, icky. Yeah, no, that was a particularly nasty one. I'm not, under any circumstances, reading that out, because that's deeply disturbing. Yeah. Man, why do they target small streams like this? I don't get it. I guess it's because they don't have a flood of moderators or something. I don't know. I have no idea. It's irritating. Frankly, disgusting. Frankly, very disgusting. Ads are like viruses, near impossible to remove, hyper adaptive. Yeah, they really are. They really are. People are constantly adapting them because I guess it's lucrative, apparently. I guess. I mean, they're probably, for a lot of them, they're probably not just like viruses. A lot of them probably just are viruses. Like when you click if you click one of those, or if you go to one of the addresses on those, I almost guarantee you that is taking over your computer. Like most of those have a lot of Trojans and viruses and all sorts of other nasty things. Not just nasty things in terms of the advertised content, but nasty things also for, you know, cybersecurity reasons as well. But anyway, that is something that is aside from the primary concern of it being physically and spiritually grotesque. I hate that stairs don't work. Oh, all right. Take it. Okay. There's another one. It's the same. Is it the same one? Or is it just something else with the exact same name? Oh my god. What's this? What's going on here? Yes, I know. Kylie, I know. I can kill it, but it will take moments. Erica can get it as soon as it shows up. She's quite adept at this sort of thing. She's quite adept at this sort of thing. What I pretend to pay her for. That's what you can pay her for. How about it gets deleted as soon as there is, I don't know, $10 in the Ko-Fi over there? That's an idea. There we go. Get rid of that. But yeah, no, it's if you do feel like throwing a tip Erica's way, I'm sure she will appreciate that sort of thing. There we go. There we go. I'm surprised they managed to make two identical ones. Anyway. All so very horrifying, but we're okay for now. It's always about this time, too.
That was a brilliant show, Inquisitor. My men had barely been keeping the Horde at bay. Bastien Pooh, Marshal of the Grand Duke's forces here in the Dales.
Wait, so the Grand Duke, Bastien, you know, the guy who we basically had arrested. What?
I've heard something of the Freemen of the Dales. What do you know about them?
They're a mob of traitors, too soft for war. So there was a skirmish or two's them back for supper. Turns out it wasn't, and off they run to the first person to tell them their tantrums are acceptable. Now they want independence, to establish a new settlement. Ridiculous.
The war is over. Gaspard will never be Emperor.
What? It can't be over. We can still fight. The throne is Gaspard's by right. No. It is done. And we will face justice for supporting the usurper.
Well, that was a really quick turnaround there.
Why have you barricaded yourselves in here?
We had to retreat from the Western Front. The demons and undead were too much. But it's no better here. My patrols don't return, messages are lost. I've had no word from the capital in weeks. If we could,
that makes sense.
Regain our outposts, the ramparts, or even the garrison by the river. We can't just keep hiding. I want to die like a soldier, not cowering under a bed, praying the monsters don't get me.
This reminds me a lot of the whole idea of that there were Japanese soldiers on isolated islands still thinking the war was on decades later, kind of thing. And it makes you realize that was probably a very, very common occurrence before modern methods of communication were prevalent. That there were probably holdouts like this in wars that had been over now for months. Like, why would there not be? It's not like when there is a peace in Val Royeaux, or not even in Val Royeaux, in the Winter Palace. Val Royeaux probably didn't even find out immediately. But when there was a peace established at the Winter Palace, when we did the quest a while ago, it's not like everyone finds out about that right away, and especially if it's behind two different enemy lines. The actual Civil War line, and then also all of these demons and undead. Yeah, of course word wouldn't get here anytime soon. So yeah, of course he would still be fighting, and of course a lot of people would die unnecessarily, and that's, again, very tragic. A lot of this game really points to some of the horrors and tragedies of war, and it does a good job of illustrating a lot of them. Patrick says the Imperial Army General armor is so cool. Even the leggings have so much design to them. Yeah, they really are. Look at the what's the term? Not spats. No, they technically would be, because there's not sabatons. I think they would be the equivalent of spats, but they're not. The spats are a dress thing, the dress uniform thing. They're not armor piece, because they're not sabatons. They don't cover the toe, but the on the feet, like, look at that. Those are lion paws. That is so cool. That's really cool. Greaves? Yeah, but not the greaves exactly. Because, like, the greaves are the shin piece. I mean, maybe I can't tell. Maybe they're attached to the greaves. They might be. I'm talking about the part that goes over part of the foot. The actual paw bit. Good night, Kylie. See you next time. Yeah, that's really, really neat. Yeah, like, so much of this is cool. And it's also it's the armor design is the armor aesthetics. Not the design. The design is actually decent. The aesthetics are very ahistorical. Like, nothing to do with real, at least European history. But who cares? It fits modern aesthetics, but it's functional like proper medieval armor. Really neat. Really, really neat. I like that kind of thing in fantasy. because modern aesthetics have a broad-shouldered look, hence the giant lions. The manly look in armor is broad-shouldered, pared down to a sort of thick, defensible midsection. Whereas, weirdly, the medieval, especially the high medieval, late medieval, fashionable manly look was hourglass, narrow waist, broad chest more than the shoulders. Not so much the shoulders, but the broad chest. And then flared down with the fold of the armor, which here is just represented by the scale in the front, the gambeson that hangs down, and then the thigh plates. It's very different from historical medieval armor, but it's still, I think it's pretty functional. There's a bit of weakness around the knees, unless that's chainmail. It might be chain. I can't tell. No, that's gambeson at most. It's okay. There's a bit of weakness around in the lower reaches, but I mean, that's still reasonable. And it's still quite defensible, too. It's still quite good defense. And man, I gotta say, I really do like... I mean, yes, fine, it's the Orlesian aesthetic, the mask thing, but how it applies to full-face visors is just brilliant. Historical full-face visors are very rarely this ornate. Very rarely. And I love that is so Orlesian. That's such an Orlesian thing that they implemented. And especially, look at that. Look at the plume. Anyway, no, I agree. I agree. That is brilliantly designed.
The Fade Rifts are gone. Demons should no longer trouble you.
With the demons gone, our communication and supply lines will open again. Even with the war lost, we may prepare and withdraw with dignity as soldiers.
Look at the guy above me. This guy. The one in the full plate, not the guy in the breastplate, the half plate. God damn it, another one. This guy. That's closer to full plate. He still has some. His thigh coverage is minimal. But his greaves go much higher, so it's again pretty forgivable. And there's no real fold to the armor. But it still has more Oh my god, another one. I might have to cut it. I might have to cut this a little early if this keeps up. But if you look at the aesthetics of this guy, the guy on the left up there, it's very similar. Rather than the historical sort of hourglass figure that you see in historical, especially high medieval and then into Renaissance armor, especially full plate armor, that you see again, instead of the broad chest, narrow waist, you see broad shoulders, thick center, thick midsection. Which fits with modern aesthetics, I think, quite well, because it fits with modern body armor, honestly. And also unarmored look. The unarmored look of a strong person is, especially like bodybuilders, think of a bodybuilder, is a triangle. Is a broad triangle. So very broad shoulders, narrowing down only slightly, but still robust midsection, robust legs, and all that.
I shall take my leave.
Be well.
Whereas a lot of medieval aesthetics put a lot of value on things like weight. Like if you were able to be, if you were able to maintain being at, basically, while still being in good shape to fight, that meant that you were obscenely wealthy, which is what fashion is really all about. It's about projecting high status, projecting wealth, all kinds of things like that. Nothing too interesting there. But yeah, no, like I said, I still really do like. I like the look of all of the stuff here. This aesthetic, because it's. I'll say it. It fits better with our own society and our own modern aesthetics. Hard and high time. Like I said, I gotta finish doing this audiobook finally. I'll get to it. I will get to it. I will record the rest of the audiobook. I'll do it. Sooner rather than I hope sooner. I will come up with an excuse to sit down and do more. Anyway, but yeah, I really like that you can have that as two as a you can have functional aesthetics like that. That is. Is that a gambeson or is that a shirt of plates? Because if it's if that's a brigandine, which it might be, then that's kind of weird to have contemporaneously with plate. But I guess. Okay, I guess.
Have many of you fallen?
What you see is all that's left. We were 1,000 strong once. The worst part is not knowing what happened to the men who don't come back. Deserters? Or dead?
Oof.
If they're dead, we've nothing to tell their families. Nothing to send home.
I can look.
Good luck to you.
Okay. What else is there to do right here? There's a great deal. Oh my god. There is so much to do here. This is ridiculous. All right, let's do this before we wrap up for the night. That'll probably get us through the rest of tonight. If we do this quest for solace, which is what we came here for. All right, let's go. Okay. Although I will say the Dalish look is bizarre. The, like, call it a tabard, I guess, the front and back look with chainmail underneath. They have chainmail, like almost full sets of chainmail, underneath their clothing. Like, they basically wear chainmail underwear. Which, I don't know, seems to me... I guess you can call it practical, but I'm just going to say wildly uncomfortable. Wildly uncomfortable.
Thank you for this, Inquisitor. We are not far from where my friend was summoned.
Okay. If we recall, his friend here is a spirit who's summoned by a bunch of mages to be bound.
My friend.
That doesn't look friendly. Does not look friendly.
The mages turned your friend into a demon.
Yes.
You said it was a spirit of wisdom, not a fighter.
A spirit becomes a demon when denied its original purpose.
So they summoned it for something so opposed to its own nature that it was corrupted. Fighting.
Your head is massive.
Let us ask them.
A mage! You're not with the bandits? Do you have any lyrium potions? Most of us are exhausted. We've been fighting that demon.
You summoned that demon! Except it was a spirit of wisdom at the time. You made it kill! You twisted it against its purpose!
I understand how it might be confusing to someone who has not studied demons, but after you help us, I can...
We are not here to help you.
Word of advice. I'd hold off on explaining how demons work to my friend here.
Listen to me.
You
I
mansplainer.
was one of the foremost experts in the Kirkwall...
Shut up. You summoned it to protect you from the bandits.
Yes.
You bound it to obedience, then commanded it to kill. That is when it turned. The summoning circle. We break it, we break the binding. No orders to kill, no conflict with its nature, no demon.
What? The binding is the only thing keeping the demon from killing us. Whatever it was before, it is a monster now.
Inquisitor, please.
I don't know if that's how it works, Solus. Once a demon, as I understand it, because the demon is not in the Fade anymore, it is on this side of the veil, is in the material. That means it has become more, it has become less mutable. And so, once it has taken a certain form, once it's taken on a certain nature like this, it's stickier. It stays to it here on this side of the veil. I think. But we should try. No, Sable doesn't know. Has no idea about magic. I mean, yeah, we've done some reading, but no. Let's do it.
I'll do everything I can to save your friend, Solus.
I hope this works.
Thank you.
Solus only slightly approves. Thanks,
We
dude.
must hurry!
Really? Hey. I really hope this... There we go. Okay, cool. Now are we still gonna have to fight the demon? That's the real question. As a demon. Everyone okay? I still hear fighting. This is a bad sign. Uh-oh. I'm gonna wake up dead, aren't I? Okay, no, we're good. We're good. Oh.
Tel Abalos en Asel Atalim. Mamilava Halane. Malasuladinadas. Magilani Midinan.
Did turn back.
Well, shit.
Really?
Thank you for coming. Better my friend have a moment's peace before the end. All that remains now is them.
Damn, another one?
Thank you. We would not have risked a summoning, but the roads
Erica
are too
kill.
dangerous to travel unprotected.
You tortured and killed my friend.
We didn't know it was just a spirit. The book said it could help us.
Solus.
Never again. I need some time alone. I will meet you back at Skyhold.
A very interesting quest. One, because about the nature of demons and the nature of demon summoning and demonology and demonmancy? Demonomancy, I guess? I don't know what you'd call it. Demonomancy? Conjuration, let's say, as it would be called in D&D. Let's go back to Skyhold to talk to Solus. And then we'll wrap up after that. But then also, it's one of those, it's a very interesting quest from a mechanical standpoint, because two reasons I find interesting. One, when you finish it, you're down a companion. Solus just leaves. And so you're out in the wild with two companions instead of three. Neat. Really cool. Most, at least Dragon Age moments don't really do that. They just say, oh, we need to talk about this when we get back to Skyhold, and then you just can kind of keep on questing. The other part of it that's interesting is that the choice you make isn't in dialogue, it's in gameplay.
Inquisitor.
So it's when you are fighting the demon, you can either kill the demon and fight it, or ignore the thing and go fight the, well, not fight, but destroy the summoning stone things. And that's a big difference. That's a big difference from how the quests usually play out. Usually it's dialogue choice, and then that just determines what you can do in gameplay, in combat. In this one, there's the dialogue choice, but then there's the actual what do you do in combat. You have to be careful and carefully choose what you're doing. And you have both options still available to you. It's really cool. Really cool. Nicely designed.
How are you, Solus?
That's not what I said to say, but okay.
It always does. But I will survive.
Thank you for coming back.
You were a true friend. You did everything you could to help. I could hardly abandon you now.
Can he actually leave there? Like, permanently?
Where did you go?
I found a quiet spot and went to sleep. I visited the place in the Fade where my friend used to be. It's empty. But there are stirrings of energy in the void. Someday something new may grow there.
Interesting.
What happens when a spirit dies?
It isn't the same for mortals. The energy of spirits returns to the Fade. If the idea giving the spirit form is strong, or if the memory has shaped other spirits, it may someday rise again.
You're saying your friend might come back?
No, not really. A spirit's natural state is peaceful semi-existence. It is rare to be able to reflect reality. Something similar may reform one day, but it might have a different personality. It would likely not remember me. It would not be the friend I knew.
Oh. Are you serious? There's another one. Erica Kill.
I'll let you get back to work.
All right. Thank you again.
Oh my god. In case anyone saw it, streamer does not recommend. Wonder if I can sue these bastards for fraud.
No one knows who he
Might be
really
worth.
is.
Might be
That's
You don't understand.
it'd be lucrative.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. That's about all the time we have. So I'm going to be on my way over to the war table. I'm going to do that very shortly as I wrap up. But I will get to wrapping up. So thank you all, first of all, for joining me. Despite the rough and rocky and late start, for which I, again, sincerely apologize, and despite the invasion of, 4, 5 thought bots throughout the last 40 minutes of the stream, I had a wonderful time. Thank you again. I hope you guys had a wonderful time too. A lot of interesting things to talk about. So hopefully, like I said, we managed to get a good bit done. Managed to get a lot of interesting conversations to happen. Let me wrap up these last couple of things here. Oh God! No. I'm gonna. Ah, Jesus. No. I'm gonna start with this next time, because that's a lot to do. I'm gonna do the boring, like, selling things and crafting things stuff off stream between now and then. So I'll do that kind of thing. And then we'll pick up next time with all of these wild various quests on the board. Then we'll continue on from there. So anyway, thank you once again for joining me. And once again, if you feel like throwing some money at me, if you have gotten some value from this, and you want to share some of that value back to me, I would, as always, absolutely appreciate it. Eric and I would, right over there, ko-fi.com/Professor McCoy. So check that out if you'd like. As I said, I would greatly appreciate it. But otherwise, like I said, I'm going to try to get back to recording Hard in Hightown. I'd really like to get a full audiobook reading of that done, and so that would be a thing to do. I'm looking forward to giving it a try. Beyond that, I do have a couple of other videos planned coming up, things that I would like to talk about and things that I would like to have out soonish. I am off. The semester is over, so I'm not having to. I'm not doing stuff for class at the moment, so I'm doing stuff for you guys. So if you do have thoughts or things that you'd like me to analyze or talk about, anything like that in a standalone video, always feel free to let me know as well. But otherwise, for now, I will hopefully see everyone on Monday for Knights of the Old Republic, and then back right here next Thursday as we continue through Dragon Age Inquisition. All right. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you all once again for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Good night.